All right, thank you. All right, thanks. For those people who don't know me, my name is Olney. I've been around UWS for the last few years, originally working in the Learning and Teaching unit, and more recently down here at Campbelltown in various guises in science and health and medicine. Today I just want to give you a little bit of an insight into as Lene mentioned, about a quite hot topic, I suppose, in terms of people are getting excited and interested about being able to produce their own videos. All right, we've got millions and millions of videos out there on YouTube that'll do lots of things, but quite often as academics are a little bit more choosy, and therefore they just don't quite do what they want them to do. So more people are interested in being able to do that themselves. Just to, so I have an idea, who has actually produced a video themselves for their students here? Okay, a couple of people. All right, and so as in the past, there's been various ways of producing videos for students, but in days gone by at UWS, there used to be a video production unit who was available, but quite often not used by academics in certain ways for sometimes the smaller productions. And so as technology has improved and people's technology ability, I suppose, is improving, then people are having the tools to be able to produce them themselves. So what I want to do today is to give you just a bit of a sense of the process, some of the issues that are associated with that, and basically from the point of view of a sample case that I've been working with here in Science and Health. Quite often the blended learning advisors pose this question: I want to produce a video that would do this. It may be producing something for a one-off in class, it may be something that demonstrates a particular technique or skill, and that quite often, in my experience recently with that, people are coming along and they say, oh, it'd be a good idea if we had a video. Yeah, we'd like to be able to show that in video, but not really have a good sense of what that really means. So what I'd like to do is have one of the discussions that we should be really exploring is, you know, what's that video for? Is this something that's really needed? Is it something that could be used for reflection? Is it something that you want the students to do prior to them coming to class? And how would it be used? The usage of these videos, oh, it'd be lovely, bright, really fancy video, but not really sure how it might be integrated into what their course is, and the sort of things that hopefully that would help support. How would it be accessed? And in Mark's talk there about accessing resources, accessing courses and so on. With video, as you're all aware, video is, even though it can be accessible easily in certain ways, depending upon what you want to do here on campus or students when they're mobile, that really is an important question, whether it be via Views or whether it be via iTunes U, as Mark was talking about, and there's lots of options in that. Is it just a one-off, or is there a series? Quite often, a number of people I've been working with, you go along and say, well, I want to produce this video, and it'll do this, and then after you've discussed it a little bit, our next one's going to be this, and our next one's going to be that, and so quite often it snowballs. So in your initial discussions about what you want, it's a good idea to sort of think about the scope of that sort of video access. What level of production is required? I mentioned about the video production unit from the past, and as you know, there are lots of different levels of production that can be done. The selfie in front of your video cam on your computer, or full-blown production with high-powered cameras and audio equipment and so on. So there's quite a variation in that sort of level. And quite often, some of the videos that you require don't require high-powered production services. They might be just requiring better techniques and environments that will give you a better result. Can I do it? Oh yeah, I've seen one that my friend's done in their home video. Yes, I think I could do that. And that question, quite often, you don't have to say, yes, I can do it, or you might be able to do part of that process. And in my example, I'll enlarge on that a little bit. And in terms of can I do it, as I said there, not sure what tools are out there, and I think part of our role is to make people aware of what techniques or what tools are out there that can help you do certain functions of the production. No, I'm not quite sure, but who's available to help out in doing that? And there are a number of courses being run by the Learning and Teaching Unit about video production. Your learning advisors that you have access to also have, if not the skills, they do have access to people who do have those skills. So keep that in mind about in that. And Gina's often been talking in various webinars and so on about the flipped classroom. And would it be better if the students did it? The students have the tools. Quite often an iPad is all that's necessary to be able to produce a reasonable quality video. And so by the students doing it themselves or in small groups and so on, quite often that may be more beneficial than you spending all the time being able to produce a video that they might have been able to do a version of, but have a different form of learning and understanding as part of that process. So don't rule out that process of getting the students to do it. All right, I'd like to sort of take you to Don's party here. Don Neely has kindly agreed for me to put him up on stage, and this is the process that I'm currently working through with Don. Don's a chemistry lecturer here on campus, and he wanted to be able to produce a series of instructional videos that could be used to support his tutorials. And I don't think he's alone in terms of wanting students to be able to have an awareness or an understanding prior to coming to class, rather than spending a lot of tutorial time involved in the production of their videos. And, production of the tutorials that spend time in demonstrating various techniques. So this is Don, and so his initial step before he actually came and discussed a few things was, he produced a selfie.
You'll find an equation when you read about the simple pendulum that allows you to predict the period of the pendulum t if you know its length L. T equals 2 pi square root of L over G. Now, G is the acceleration due to gravity. We can rewrite that.
All right. So Don in that one. Sorry, I won't go any more than that. The sound, the quality of the sound, the lighting, and so on, he wasn't happy with, but that was a very valuable experience for Don. Sort of looking at yourself on screen quite often does wonders for you. Sometimes positive. But he said, well, gee, I missed a few things there, and all that lighting's not very good, and I mumbled that bit, and so on. So that initial selfie that he's done there got him thinking about his presentation, the sort of content, and most of that initially was just off the cuff. So he thought, well, let's thinking about better planning. What really do I want to get across? What are the key concepts involved in this production? And so talking about the concept of storyboarding. Oh yeah, but he said, oh, I have trouble sort of writing that down. I usually just, say it out. So we both came to the conclusion there we need sort of better production, better planning for what he wanted to do, but also in terms of the production. There's lots of resources out there, and the Learning and Teaching Unit through the Blended Learning site has a number of resources up there about tips and tricks. But in terms of the aspect of the storyboarding, it was really important to conceptualise what he wanted to convey as part of that. And there are a couple of examples of sheets that they could go through and think about what do they want to convey at this part, at the introduction, then the main demonstration, and so on. So Don didn't use either of these. He did up his own little comic strip. In the first bit I want to do this, and the second bit I want to do this, and the third bit I want to do this. So that process there he found was quite useful. Okay, this was our next attempt, and this time we upped the ante in terms of the production, and Mark O'Connor is here. Mark's our local audio expert, and so Mark and I worked with Don, and we came along and we produced this next version.
Let's just take the measurements that we've just done. I measured the length of that pendulum as 0.389, and I estimated plus or minus about 2 millimetres or 0.002 of a metre. See if you can do better than that, perhaps. And from the measurement of the period, we already have 1.259 plus or minus 0.009 of a second.
All right, so Don there became quite happy with that, and realised that was an important part of the process in terms of the planning and the storyboarding associated with it, where you could see the sort of result that was necessary. Okay, let me just. So we're looking at this.
This is a simple pendulum. Now, not to go to sleep at this point. But all I want to show you here is it's got a length, point of suspension, centre of mass at the bottom, and the period.
Okay, that wasn't meant to be in sync. But if you just look at the two images there, or the stocked image from the videos, what do you notice? Sorry? The one on the right's clear? Yeah. Anybody? Any other comments, Michelle?
The one on the left's got a pink cast. The other one's got a difference in the colours of the.
All right. It probably doesn't come out so well on the overhead here, but basically that's the same video, but in terms of file size, that one's 17 megabytes worth, and this one's 4. So in terms of being able to crunch and reduce the size, and this is really important with video production, and in terms of linking in what you're going to do with it and where is it going to be accessed. So that is an important consideration there, and in this case you have to sometimes play around with how often that you, to what degree of compression is used for your videos in this. So currently I'm working with Don here in terms of producing this particular series. He's got all the content available. He knows he's written his own sort of little textbook, and so he wanted a way of supplementing that textbook. So he's got the content available, and he knows that for these particular lessons or tutorials he's going to have a particular video that's going to support each of those prior to the students turning up at their tutorial. hoping that they'll have seen it before they come. But so we're involved in that particular production. In terms of the actual distribution of these resources, we're currently looking at the options about what he wants to do with these. Whether are they going to be just standalone videos in Views, which they could be. Could they be as part of an iTunes U course, like Mark was referring to there earlier? Or could they be as an iBook? These are first-year students mainly that he's dealing with, so they do have access to an iPad, and so they could be accessed on an iBook. Or it could be in a PDF format, but that also has some limitations about how we use that. So at the moment, just exploring with him about the possibility of how it might be in an iBook format. If you see the second one on the top right there, that's the book, and the format would be very, very simple, with some basic text introduction on one side of the page, and then the video that goes with it. We talked about other functions that might be available within iBooks, such as multiple choice and different documents. He said, no, we want it simple, and so this is the track that we're going down at the moment in terms of him being able to do it. But he is concerned, as Michelle brought up there earlier, about the equity associated with being able to access these materials. All right, where do we go from here? He wanted to do some more of the process himself. Cryptic crossword time. Anyone know what those two refer to? Top and tail. Thank you, Peter. Okay, a common term in video production might be to top and tail the video. Cut out the ums and ahs a bit at the front of the video, cut out the blurb and the pull down at the end of the video, and really all I'm concerned with is that chunk that goes in the middle, and that process is not too difficult. And so there are a number of options in terms of software being able to do that. I've given a couple of examples there. All have strengths and weaknesses, but you really need to have a discussion about what you really want to do. Because talking with Don about this, he said, well, I'd like to be able to do this, and then I want to put a title, and then I want to do this, and then I want to do so-and-so. So as they see the possibilities, their interest in what they want to do extends. So this is an example of a top and tail exercise where this might be the section of video that he wants. Put the marker there, and say that's it. And so you can chop that bit out and chop that bit out, and away you go. All right, I'm getting a hurry up. So other things, putting a title with another project that I'm working with the physiotherapy here. They're having a whole series of instructional videos that talk about various things, so they're talking about titles. In terms of branding, putting something like the UWS logo on them is also something that they want to do, and here in this demonstration they're putting that's going to be there as part of the overall video. Wanted to be able to put images throughout the video that highlight certain content, then that's also an extension of the sort of thing. So just finishing off, planning is really important. Having a really clear idea of what and why you want these videos. What sort of time do you have available? What time does the academic have available? Because it's not just come in, camera, and away you go and that's it. Additional resources that you might need to support your production, and the post-production time. Quite often people don't realise what's involved there in terms of being able to fix up, change, modify, etc. to get out the result that you want. Thank you.